here for the quarterfinal round of our first gym challenge, premier challenge of the month of March. We have ones the next two Sundays, March 10th and March 17th. The quarterfinal round, first top 8 matchup, we have Benjamin Harlan and Joseph Phillips, both players we have seen on stream already today. Benjamin, once again, with the Regidrago, Furrow Giraffe, Rillaboom, Tornadus, Metagross, and Urshifu Rapid Strike. Joseph with Iron Hands, Glamora, Dondozo, Tatsugiri, Alolan Ninetales, and Ogerpon Hearthflame. We saw Benjamin play. It was a bit of a Tornadus Urshifu mirror match. Got the Tornadus tons of early value and didn't ever have to bring the Furrow Giraffe or the Regidrago. On Joseph's side, was able to lead the Ninetales and Iron Hands. Also got the Glamora in there a couple of times. Was able to end up cleaning things up with Dondozo and Tatsugiri towards the end of the battles. In either case, both these players saw them do pretty well earlier, saw them win earlier, and now a question of how this matchup turns out. Both did have good matchups earlier, which was pretty important. But in any case, we are getting underway. Joseph with the Glamora Iron Hands lead. Benjamin with Tornadus Metagross. So as we spoke about before, Tornadus Incarnate on Benjamin's side. Covert Cloak with Protect, Rain Dance, Bleak Wind Storm, and Tailwind. So no Taunt. Not that a Taunt really comes in useful here. Metagross, Clear Body, Choice Band, Bullet Punch, Heavy Slam, Psychic Fangs, Stomping, and Tantrum. Glamora does have a lot of incentive to just pop out a Meteor Beam right now. But also doesn't want to get knocked out by the Metagross. To protect from the Tornadus. Keep it out of the way of a Meteor Beam, but the Glamora goes for a Spiky Shield. Psychic Fangs into the Iron Hands, gonna be a one-hit knockout. The Choice Band Metagross with some crazy damage. Going to pick up the early KO there. Benjamin pretty happy about that one. And that'll mean Dondozo comes in now. Point Metagross has to feel pretty good. Gotta remember that Psychic Fangs does break Aurora Veil, so even if Joseph tried to get in the Alolan Ninetales and got the Aurora Veil up, Psychic Fang breaks through it. Very awkward interaction for Joseph to deal with here. And it might mean to keep that Ninetales on the bench, which does then kind of mean to bring out the Dondozo, but that Dondozo took some damage there. Let's see the Terra here, actually. The Terra on the Glamora. Terra Grass. So it is now neutral against those Psychic Fangs instead of weak to them. Dondozo will protect. A Bleak Wind will do quite a bit of damage against this Glamora right here. But it will just be a Tailwind. Pretty nice play there by Benjamin. Was the Psychic Fangs into the Dondozo. Wanted to make sure not to get caught on the switch there. And Glamora will use the Meteor Beam. Going to get that +1 special attack. Will it take out the Tornadus? Aimed at the Tornadus, and it will indeed one-shot that Tornadus. Ring the bell on that one-hit KO. Both players losing one Pokemon so far, but gotta feel decent if you're Benjamin playing out the rest of this. Rillaboom coming in with that Grassy Surge. Metagross is locked into Psychic Fangs, although that's probably ideal damage against a lot of these targets right here. Rillaboom coming in is pretty dangerous for the Dondozo. Not able to Terra now since the Terra has been used on the Glamora. And Glamora will switch out now. So any attacks aimed at the Glamora will now miss. this going into the Tatsugiri. That Tatsugiri going to get commandered, gobbled right up onto the Dondozo. But any grass type moves that are launched into that Dondozo are still going to be pretty strong. And definitely still the speed in Benjamin's advantage with the doubled speed from the Tailwind. That Woodhammer, give it half of the Dondozo's HP. See if Dondozo is able to launch something back in return. It's going to await the Psychic Fangs. Psychic Fangs were targeting the Glamora. The order up into the Rillaboom, not enough to KO, not even really close. Now a question, how much more will any of this deal? Dondozo does get a couple procs of healing with the grassy terrain and the leftovers, although Rillaboom will get the same with the grassy terrain at least. Question here at least is, what are we going to get out of the Dondozo? Will protect, try to get a little bit more HP back. Question is, can Dondozo take a Woodhammer and a Psychic Fangs in one turn? And even if it is capable of doing that, can Joseph win after that? There's not really anything... Well, there's the Tailwind being stalled out over time, which is meaningful. Dondozo is able to get an additional hit off because of that. But, yeah, it's got a lot of healing. Dondozo's kind of wild. Woodhammer comes through once again. Good damage there from Benjamin's Rillaboom there. The Psychic Fangs, will this finish off Dondozo? It will. There goes Dondozo. A little dicey for a little bit, but not going to get that one done. Tailwind peters out, but the damage has already been done, all things considered. Glamora comes back out here. Tatsugiri in a pretty awkward spot, probably going to get launched into by a Grassy Glide. Might just finish it off. And this Glamora not in a spot to do anything to the Metagross. The only thing that actually affects the Metagross is Meteor Beam, and that takes a 2-turn charge now that the Power Herb is down. So it's looking like Benjamin's going to be able to handle this one eventually. Grassy Glide into the Tatsugiri. At half the HP there. Good damage. Tatsugiri with the Icy Wind. It's a... not damage. Not much damage. And Metagross will Psychic Fangs finish off the Tatsugiri. It is just that Glamora remaining. Again, the only damage that affects this Metagross now is the Meteor Beam. And that is not an ideal spot to be in if you are Joseph here. There's a chance to stall out here. I'm trying to see a win condition. We'll get the Sludge Bomb knockout onto the Rillaboom. The Psychic Fang, see what that does. Yeah, that's way more than enough. I was thinking that maybe Joseph could try to stall out the remaining PP on Psychic Fangs, but 5 should be more than enough. Doesn't matter if there's grassy terrain or not, and the poisoned Regidrago is not going to be happy, but is certainly going to get the job done. Just a Dragon Pulse will probably be able to do it. Joseph might be able to stall one more turn. Little Spiky Shield here. It will do a teensy bit of damage back to the Metagross, none to the Regidrago. Regidrago will take a little bit of damage on the poison, but that's not going to be much. Psychic Fangs making contact. See what damage does back to Metagross. None. Basically none. Here's a little bit of Regidrago damage. That's a gigantic HP stat. Comically large Regidrago HP stat. And this Dragon Pulse should finish things off. Benjamin with the Game 1 victory. Nice game there. Very much, Tornado's got Tailwind up, and that was, I think, the key to all of it. 1, Tornado's got Tailwind up, and 2, I think Joseph, I think split ideas a couple of times. Decided to Terra the Glamora instead of keeping that for the Dondozo, but then swapped out the Glamora, which meant that it was not going to be that important anymore. Excuse me, not that important anymore. And it's hard to say. It ultimately was not the correct decision for the turn that it was used in. I don't know if Joseph wants to switch things up here. Again, Ninetales not the best pick. And if you're not bringing Ninetales, you have to bring Dondozo or Tatsugiri. That's how the math works out. So if you're not bringing Ninetales, you kind of gotta bring Dozo, Tatsugiri, like, together, which also then means we might not see the Ogerpon at all on stream. Benjamin might try to change some things up here. Another thing to remember about Joseph's team is that there's not a whole lot of priority other than the fake out on the Iron Hand. Not a whole lot of priority, there's not a whole lot of disruption. If something like the Regidrago comes out between me and you, audience at home, something like the Regidrago comes out, all that can really come through is the fake out, and even then, a fake out with this Metagross here will mean that Iron Hands will instantly drop. And then that means that the Regidrago is going to be able to change moves if it wants to. So it can lock in Dragon Energy turn 1 pretty comfortably. And the worst thing that would happen is it then gets hit by, like, something from Glamora, like a Meteor Beam. And I don't know how much that would do. That's me theorizing here. 2 Dragon Energy should certainly be able to finish off Joseph's lead, if it is the same lead. And Benjamin might have done a good job of forcing the Incineroar out of the picture, because then nothing blocks this Dragon Energy. Nothing even resists it. But we're getting underway for game number 2 of our top 8 matchup. It's Glamora and Dondozo against Regidrago and Metagross. This Regidrago, that's a free Dragon Energy. That's the freest Dragon Energy of all time, it feels like. And Metagross probably can lock itself into Psychic Fangs again. I think you have to feel pretty comfortable about that if you are Benjamin. Also switch out. There's plenty of options here. But Dragon Energy into Dondozo, even if it gets the Commander bonus, I mean, you're still faster, I think. I think you're still faster with the Choice Scarf. Although, I actually might not be. It's pretty fast Dondozo, but faster than I would have anticipated. Depends. Do the choices. It's going to be Regidrago swapping out. Not a bad decision. And it's going to be Rillaboom coming in, same as last battle. Rillaboom coming in to match the Dondozo, although if we do get a Terra, it means that Dondozo will be a very unhappy camper. Or it means Rillaboom will be a very unhappy camper. Dondozo will be a very happy camper. We get the instant Dondozo-Tatsugiri duo here. Dondozo gets its Omni Boost, double Omni Boost. And then we will see what the Metagross decides to go for. Well, first the Dondozo goes. It gets the Earthquake off. That does less damage under grassy terrain, remember. So it'll do a limited chunk to Metagross and basically nothing to Rillaboom. Psychic Fangs is the choice, but it was aimed into the Tatsugiri, so a free hit from the Dondozo, but that also means that Dondozo might be forced to Terastallize right now. Also an option to fake out here. This is a nice play here from Benjamin, if it worked out properly. Get the swap out, Regidrago coming in, where this is leftovers Dondozo, so protect. So that's a very good play by Joseph. A very, very good play by Joseph. That was potentially an option for the Terastal to be forced out there, and instead holding on to the Terra, making it a little bit dicier for Benjamin. And again, we're not 100% sure on the speed matchup here. Also not 100% sure, like, yeah, it's the speed matchup here that's the big question. And I think that's what Benjamin is going to we'll find out right now. You, me, Benjamin, and Joseph are about to find out what the speed matchup is between these two. We're going to see the Terra Dragon, Reggie Drago. We all love the funny sideways dragon hat. It's everyone's favorite. We all know this. And Reggie Drago is faster. Dondozo did not terastalize, so this is a neutral hit, but that is plenty of damage. And order up into the Reggie Drago should finish it off, actually. Yeah, that's going to be a one-hit knockout, ring the bell. But Dondozo should be taken down in return, which is probably worth it if you're Benjamin, as this team revolves pretty heavily around that Dondozo. This is Woodhammer. It is Woodhammer. It does connect, and there goes the Dondozo. So, well-played turn by Benjamin. I wonder if unterastalized Woodhammer, or unterastalized Draco Meteor plus Woodhammer, or even Dragon Energy plus Woodhammer would have gotten the job done. But that also is good. Excuse me, I hit the microphone. If this series goes to 3 games, that is good information for Benjamin to know that the Reggie Drago with the Choice Scarf is faster than Dondozo at +1 speed, or at +2 speed. So that is at least very valuable information. And now, look in the other direction. It's Glamora and Tatsugiri now, and it's against Rillaboom and Farigiraf. This is Terra on Joseph's side. No reason not to use that on the Glamora at this point, especially staring down. Well, staring down a Farigiraf that actually matches up better against not Terastalize. But it matches up better against the Rillaboom, so fine decision regardless. Rillaboom's going to get that Helping Hand, goes for the Grassy Glide. Helping Hand, Grassy Glide, not enough damage for that Tatsugiri. The Muddy Water comes through, going to miss the Farigiraf, which is pretty good for Benjamin, because that Muddy Water can get pretty scary with those accuracy drops. That's certainly a late game win condition. The Sludge Bomb also comes through. Good damage onto the Rillaboom, but not a knockout amount of damage. Now we raise the specter of, do you go for a Grassy Glide here with the Rillaboom, knowing that, well, I guess it's not necessary because the Farigiraf can just go for a Dazzling Gleam here. Rillaboom's going to switch out, reset its accuracy. That's going to be probably useful in the later stages of the battle, I would imagine. Don't know what's in the back, probably the Iron Hands. Metagross comes back out. Could be dangerous. Tatsugiri, Muddy Water. See again. No drop, but Meteor Beam coming out now. Overflowing with Space Power. Gets that Power Herb. Has not used that yet. Hasn't even spent much time in the battle. Gets it down onto Farigiraf. Does get the knockout. That picks up the knockout onto Farigiraf. That's pretty significant, actually. Because now this Metagross is in a pretty awkward spot. Kinda low on HP. Grass disappears from the battlefield, which actually means that Grass is going to linger for basically the rest of the battle, since Rillaboom comes back in and resets that grassy terrain. Grassy Glide should finish off Tatsugiri at this point. Could also be an opportunity to try to fake out the Glamora. Glamora's going to Spiky Shield though, so nice decision not to aim for the Glamora, and instead going to Grassy Glide with the Tatsugiri. Though it means that Metagross, it's not locked into anything yet. It will now lock itself into Heavy Slam and hit the Glamora for a teensy bit of self-chip. That should be healed off back by the grassy terrain, pretty much. Benjamin's Pokemon are low on health, but are pretty powerful. This Glamora is starting to look dangerous, and finally we will see the Ogre Pond. And that might spell the end for Benjamin in game number 2 here. As locked into Heavy Slam, I don't know that... well, Rillaboom does have Stomping Tantrum, but Stomping Tantrum won't even do that much to... Or, excuse me, not Stomping Tantrum, High Horsepower, but that won't do that much damage to Ogre Pond. That's just a neutral hit. This Metagross is locked into Heavy Slam. No two ways about it. Gotta keep Heavy Slamming. Ogre Pond Spiky Shields. Going to protect this first turn. That could be big. with a good read here, but the Sludge Bomb finishes off the Glamora, or excuse me, finishes off the Rillaboom with a critical hit. Don't think that mattered. I'm not sure. I'll check the tapes later. Heavy Slam going to one-hit KO the Glamora, but I think that will be the end of this battle, since I think an Ivy Cudgel is going to take care of this Metagross pretty easily. Just at about half HP and not very effective hit. There's the Ivy Cudgel. And that's going to finish it off. Joseph with a Game 2 victory, finally bringing out that Ogerpon. We have not seen very little Ogerpon all day, and no Hearth Flame other than on Joseph's team. That was the first time we saw it. And picks up the victory, game number 2. The one big thing for Benjamin is knowing that the Regidrago does outspeed the Dondozo at +2 speed. So that is definitely valuable information. Certainly add on top of that the way that the fact, like, I'd wonder if a Grassy Glide plus a Dragon Energy would take out a Dondozo in basically any condition. We'll certainly see. I think something like a Regidrago and Metagross, or even Regidrago Rillaboom lead wouldn't be terrible, but again, you have to balance taking down the Glamora with taking down the Dondozo. And you can't forget about the Iron Hands, which did not appear at all in that battle. The Metagross was a great matchup into the Iron Hands, and maybe Joseph realized that and didn't want to run it anymore. You also have to remember, if you're Benjamin, you can't not have something that deals with Alolan Ninetales in case Joseph wants to go for that. I mean, it's a dangerous dangerous set of reads that each of these players has to make here. Sorry, I was drinking water. Alright, game number 3, quarterfinal round. Winner progresses on to semifinals. Losers eliminated. Joseph's lead will be Ogerpon and Dondozo. Very big switch up there. It'll be Tornadus, Metagross on the other side, so Ogerpon does have the opportunity to switch out immediately, get the Dondozo. It's time in the fun. If Rain Dance gets up, then Ogerpon will be dramatically weakened, but Dondozo will be dramatically strengthened. So that's the 50-50 on that end. Also go for just a calm little Bleak Wind and see what happens, but you don't want Tornadus to get knocked out immediately by a Dondozo, which really could happen if you're not safe here. So didn't totally check what's in the back for Benjamin. From Joseph's side, I think it's a question of, do you switch out the Dondozo, do you switch out the Ogerpon, or do you do some kind of Protect shenanigans? But doing a Protect also means that you might be getting a free Tailwind to Benjamin, which would be pretty unfortunate. We're going to see a turn 1 Terra from the Ogerpon. We're just going to see the Ogerpon going for it all, the attack bonus. The Fire-type Ogerpon. Protect here from Benjamin's Tornadus would be huge because it would allow a Rain Dance potentially, but we're going to see the Bleak Wind instead. Going to do okay damage to both these Pokemon. Neither of them switched out. Ogerpon got the speed drop. That is pretty significant. So did Dondozo. Ogerpon goes for the Ivy Cudgel. +1 attack. Tons of damage. Tons of effective damage. And that's going to take out the Metagross in one hit. Good damage there by Joseph. But now -1 speed on each of these Pokemon. Dondozo going for the Order Up. Yeah, it hasn't moved yet. Does okay damage to the Tornadus. Again, does not have the Commander bonus, so Order Up doesn't actually increase its attack yet. Something Tatsugiri gives it. Now, Regidrago in a decent spot to switch in Jesse's Dragon Energy. There's not much that can stop it at this point. A Tailwind Dragon Energy will do tons of damage to both these Pokemon. I don't see how it wouldn't knock both of them out. And you don't even have to go for a Tailwind this turn. You can go for Bleak Wind Dragon Energy, and that should be enough to take out both these Pokemon, get Ogerpon out of the way, or force a switch out, which would be just as significant. The worst thing that could happen... You know that the Regidrago's faster regardless. If the Tornadus isn't faster, that's not the worst thing in the world. We're going to see the Terrastal here, no switch outs. We're just going to see the Terra Dragon on the Regidrago, second game in a row. And this Regidrago should absolutely be able to get this one done. Dondozo going for the Protect. And that should mean the Ogerpon is done. Dragon Energy coming out. And that will absolutely destroy that Ogerpon. There it goes. Goodbye, Ogerpon. And there goes the early Terra on the Ogerpon. It was a bold call from Joseph, and I wonder if it was the correct one. Now we've got the Dondozo here. Bleak Wind not going to connect through the Protect. Now, most likely we'll see a Tatsugiri switch in, or something that can switch out. It's got to be Tatsugiri at this point. I think you can't do anything else, and at that point, you're really banking on... No, I don't know what you're banking on. Tatsugiri comes in. Again, remember, Dondozo had -1 speed, so Dondozo's only at +1 speed right now. At +1 speed, it might not outspeed Tornadus. It genuinely might not outspeed Tornadus at +1 speed, and so it might eat both a Bleak Wind and a Dragon Energy right now. Could also be a Tailwind against a single target Dragon. Oh, Regidrago will switch out. Benjamin's gonna keep, gonna play this safe, which is probably smart. Rillaboom comes through. Also does mean the grassy terrain is up, which means that the HP taken off of Dondozo beforehand is not going to be as meaningful. Dondozo using the Order Up onto the Rillaboom, not going to do too much damage, but another one will take it down with that attack bonus. Have to be afraid of that. Dondozo can also try to stall out the... Well, it doesn't matter if it tries to stall out the Tailwind, because it's not going to matter. Regidrago is faster with the Choice Scarf naturally. Well, it's fine. Tornadus is going to switch out. Regidrago is going to switch in under Fake Out support. Dondozo will protect anyway. So now Dondozo basically ready to get blown up pretty quickly here. Dragon Energy should be more than enough to deal with this Dondozo. Rillaboom is faster as well with the Tailwind. There's no world where Dondozo gets through this turn, I believe. I don't want to see the Draco Meteor. I want to see the Dragon Energy. I think it's cooler. It also just does more damage in this situation and doesn't have a chance of missing. We'll see the Draco Meteor come out, does a bunch of damage into the Dondozo, not enough to KO, drops the special attack harshly, the Wood Hammer comes through, and the Wood Hammer finishes off the Dondozo, basically from full health in one turn, getting the Dondozo out of there. Rillaboom will take a bit of recoil damage, but will heal back a little bit as well with the grassy terrain. Now just two Pokemon remaining. It is the Glamora and the Tatsugiri. No Terrastal available, remember, for either side. Regidrago, the Terran target on Benjamin's side. And yeah, now I think you have to switch back in the Tornadus. This is the problem here, is I think you have to switch back in the Tornadus, and I wonder how much that Joseph can stall out the rest of these turns. If it was the Dragon Energy, then you just get another Dragon Energy out of the Regidrago and probably get rid of the Tatsugiri right now. Do the Wood Hammer onto the Tatsugiri. That might finish off the Tatsugiri by itself. Indeed it will. I think it didn't matter. I think I was worrying over nothing. Because this Glamora just spiky shielded. Didn't even get the Meteor Beam on the switch, which might have gotten a little bit of something done. But Tailwind is now down. Benjamin can get the Tailwind back up. Get the high horsepower down, and that should absolutely finish off that Glamora. There is the Tailwind. Rillaboom goes next. High horsepower, 4 times effective. And Benjamin Harlan with the 2-1 victory to head to the semifinal round. Definitely nicely played by Joseph top to bottom, but Benjamin certainly coming through when it mattered and getting a lot of value out of every single one of those Pokemon. We saw every single Pokemon on Benjamin's team, I believe, in that set. We might not have seen the Urshifu, but we saw basically every one of Benjamin's Pokemon in that series, all providing some serious value between those games. Regidrago in particular getting some big hits on that Dondozo. I mean, it feels bad when all you do with a Regidrago is Terra Dragon Draco Meteor and not do all of one Pokemon's damage. But hey, when you get rid of the Dondozo, that's all you need to do. We'll step aside. We'll be back with the semifinal round of our gym challenge. Don't go anywhere.